Hey, everybody, welcome back. And what a funny show we're going to have today. So here's the funny thing, right? Mortgage rates are down. We've seen some pretty impressive numbers coming out. With that, we've got the strongest sales that we have seen in 3 years, and that happened in December. That is absolutely carrying over into January. And you know what? Let's get on with the show. Let's have a little bit of fun. All right. So a lot of you are like, wait a second, what the heck are you talking about 3 years? Well, yeah, we've been kind of struggling since 2023, kind of tail end of 2022, as we've been moving forward. In fact, last year was kind of a flat market. 2024 was a flat market. 2023 was kind of a marginal market, because that's when we transitioned from our fabulous 4% mortgage rates almost all the way up to 8%, and in a very short period of time. Watch the video from last week. We talk about mortgage-backed securities. We talk about a few other things that were relevant and are relevant, and as we're moving forward. So let's take a look at this. Our numbers, as you can see on the right-hand side there, our numbers on existing home sales just absolutely just went up. Here we go. It says basically existing home sales posted a notable year-end rebound in December, jumping 5.1% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 4.35 million, according to NAR. Now, here's the thing. December sales were the strongest in nearly 3 years, making a broad-based improvement across all 4 regions. So when we take a look at this, you can see where our numbers absolutely went above zero. And we had our months below, and not uncommon. But as we kind of hit that December market, everything was going down, situation normal. In fact, last year, you can see that we dipped way under, whereas this year we dipped way up. And listen, make sure you're watching every single week. There's no marketing in this, and it's just really solid information so you can make a really good decision. That's all this is, okay? As we see our numbers changing, you're like, geez, George, what the heck happened? Well, it's super simple. Look, mortgage rates kept going down and down and down. They were hitting the 6.125, 6.16, 6.13. And then we've seen that additional drop because, well, the feds were given authority to buy $200 billion of mortgage-backed securities like they did in 2020. And then, because it's traded on the public market, that inventory of what's able to go out on the stock market got reduced. When that gets reduced, people the bond prices improve because it's a mortgage-backed security. Bonds improve, rates come down inversely because of it. Okay, that's a short-term thing. Understand, we are only below and into the 5% for a lot of lenders, except when we come back out of when they finish buying the mortgage-backed securities, that will change. And then our rates will more than likely pop back up to about 6.25, and then, start to stay in the 6 to 6.5, somewhere in that ballpark. No different than what we've been predicting, since last year, even the year before, December, November, October 2024. That was our prediction for 2025. We were spot on perfect. As we continue to move forward, we said we would dip into the 5s. It would be brief. This is going to be brief, a little bit longer than brief than I thought, but still artificially brief down because of mortgage-backed securities. All right, we come back here. Let's talk about this. Inventory tightened, and you're going to see that momentarily. Inventory tightened sharply during the month of December. Total housing inventory fell to 1.18 million units, down 18.1% from November, though still 3.5% higher than a year ago. Not a big deal. Months of supply, the big one, we're down to 3.3 months. We're up at 4.2. So we almost dropped an entire month of inventory in the month of December, which is massive. And you need to understand that. That is massive, because we kept drawing down. For every home that came on market, we were taking 2 off. And we did that through most of December and into January. In fact, today's numbers, as we kind of roll through them, you're going to see that you're going to say, well, hey, George, listen, here's a 7-day running average is pretty close. Well, that always happens on a Friday, and always we're going to see a bigger bump this time of year as homes that delisted in January or in December for the holidays are coming back on market. No different than a couple that we had, one of which went active today. Great house in Renton. You should go see it. Anyway, let's go here. All right. Let's see. Existing home sales jumped 5.1%. We talked about that. Super awesome. Bottom left, builder sentiment survey not yet reflecting the current changes. Listen, builders have been buying down rate for a while, so rates coming down doesn't really help them. Resale inventory, that's where the massive push is, and they started to lose some of the traction due to some of the resale homes that came back on market because of better pricing. And so it's not unexpected, but yet their numbers are still doing really well. Let's get back to this. Upper right, look at this. 30-year fix is at 6.07. That was par pricing. Most lenders are in and below the fives. Okay, look at this. 1%. Actually, it's 0.98, but I like to round up. 1% less in rate today than last year at this time. That is amazing. Understand, 1% is a massive deal. Now, for those of you that are looking at, hey, George, should I refinance? Because I've had this conversation this week, no less than 35 times, 32 times, at least 32 times. People say, dude, should I refinance? Look, if you have a fixed rate mortgage and you are 6 3/4 or above, 7 or above, absolutely, now's a great time to refinance. Yes, you can monitor it, but listen, we're only going to stay in these lower rates until we hit that $200 billion of mortgage-backed securities that are purchased. And if they're doing $30 billion per week, that's going to go by pretty fast. So that leaves you a few weeks, like about 5 weeks, 4 weeks to go ahead. Now, probably about 6 weeks to play. And then after that set of mortgage-backed securities are going to go away because everybody's thinking the same thing you are. I need to get my refinance. I need to get that purchase. Hey, I'm going to get off the fence. I need to go find a house. I need to secure a house in the next 30 to 45 days, or I'm going to lose that 5%, 5.75, 5.5, rate because I was sitting on the sidelines wasting dollars. You might as well burn the dollar, right? I'm just saying, now is a massive time to save money. You know what? You should only look at buying a home or refinancing now if you're interested in saving money. If you're not interested in saving money, just don't worry about it. Okay, so I like to have some fun. All right, let's get back to this. Here we go. So rates really dropped. We're seeing some really great numbers. And in fact, when we take a look at what's going on market-wise, look, market times have gone up. Went up 18 days on average. That's the bottom chart there. If we head over to our running 7-day average, look, we had 720 that came on. Yesterday it was 580. 688 homes that went off. Understand that was right about the same number yesterday. Fridays are always a big number, but even still, look, even today, 1 for 1. That is an amazing and an impressive number when you think about it, because it is January and we're seeing this activity because of rate, because we have a pent up sideline of buyers that are coming into the mix, and they're super smart. Okay. Overpricing, even though we have less inventory, even though we have lower rates, buyers are not stupid, and they are, well, not all of them anyway. I'm kidding. Anyway, so we've got buyers that are super educated and know what a good value is. Overpricing your home, it's not going to work. Just letting you know. Buyers will be very clear as to what's going on with what they feel the value of your home is. All right, so let's get into this. Let's talk about the Northwest MLS. Let's talk about our trends. What are our metrics doing? What are we doing? Look at here. Our numbers are looking absolutely Awesome. Let's blow it up. Bottom chart. Look, we have 1,627 homes more this year than we had last year. Not very much. This is 3/4 of Washington State. Note, on the right-hand side, again, bottom chart, we have zero increase in homes coming on market, new on market year over year. Still the same numbers. But look at the chart below that. We've got 11% more homes going under contract, or roughly about 202 more homes. So we're taking off more homes off the market than we came on just year to date. Our actual sold, now that's last year. So let's look at the upper chart. We take a look at last year's going under contract. We were up 8.5% as far as actual homes. It was a couple hundred homes. Okay, that's good. Our solds were up. Those were November's from contracts that close in December. So when we take a look at and we say, hey, you know what? We're basically just 1% above where we were at last year. Again, we're just seeing that very positive trend that's coming across, and you're seeing that momentum continue to build. And as we start to roll into our spring market, which is the February, March, April, if we keep those rates down, if those rates are staying down in February, March, even though we're seeing the influx of buyers right now, we're going to be kicking it. Okay. And we're going to probably start to see a lot more multiple offers for well-priced homes coming on market. Just saying. Okay. Now, if we come over and we take a look at the actual average sale for list and average sold price, the average for sale is down about $20,000, and our average sold price is down about $7,000 year to date from where we were at last year. Now, does that mean that your home is worth less? No, that is not at all what it means. It's just the average of what is selling. It doesn't necessarily mean this is what the value of my home is today, because your home is on the market to compare to what it was before. So just taking a look at the average, sometimes we get the medium sales price, gives us just that trend. And what we are trending is, again, still some really good numbers seasonally, and we're seeing a few more price reductions from some homes that were a little overpriced, and we're starting to see some of that adjust. Again, $7,000 year over year in January, small potatoes. I mean, those are tiny taters. All right, how's that? All right, we'll continue to have a little bit more fun. All right, moving on. Let's talk about new construction. New construction is a big deal because these are homes that will set a trend in a lot of different ways. So when we talk about setting trends, we're talking about what's going to be happening as far as the economy, again, on a bigger scale. Even though our number of homes on market, let's blow this up. Top chart, even though our homes on market are down 44 homes, again, that's 3/4 of Washington State, lower than we were at last year. And our pendants are a little bit lower. And a lot of that has to do, again, with our rates. But if you take a look at where we were at last month, look at that. Pendants were up 5.7%. You might say, well, George, look, we were 5.2% less sales. Holy smokes. When we started in December, it was like 11, 12% off. We made up some serious ground. In fact, you're basically looking at about 35 homes different. Pretty small for 3/4 of Washington State. When we take a look at what's going on price-wise, look, they made some ground up on pricing, which is really good. You can see from the squiggly chart at the top, solds absolutely went up, sold prices went up, they went, and they'll probably start to flatten out. But listen, when you take a look at what is happening just in general at new construction, because they forecast 6 months to 2 years out, okay? And when they took a look at numbers and they look at everything that needs to happen, where are we heading, trending-wise? What's our absorption rates? What is it that we can incentivize buyers to take them away, get their eyeballs off of the resale homes and get them to us? And they're doing those things. And that's what they constantly play with Still a great time to buy new construction. November, December was absolutely the best time to buy new construction. But look, people want bigger yards. They want a little more space. Most of the homes are being updated. In fact, sellers, remember, 72% of buyers want a turnkey home. Keep that in mind as you're looking at marketing your home. Super important message. All right. As we roll on and we take a look at bank-owned properties, here's the funny thing. Remember, I told you last week, somebody was going to say, oh my gosh, foreclosures are up 50%. And I was dead spot on, man. I received two people that sent metrics over saying, oh, you need to buy foreclosures. Foreclosures are up 50 or 52%. And, unemployment is on its way up because, everybody's being laid off. And so I said, hey, on the foreclosure side, well, where'd you get your metrics from? Oh my gosh, you can't believe it. It's crazy. All these filings. I said, I understand. Where did you get your metrics? Because I actually know that what you're talking about, that's only 4 homes. And they never responded after that. Look, be super careful. You're going to get people that are going to say some crazy numbers, especially out of Olympia. And they're going, because people are none the wiser. Okay. Make sure that you're keeping that in perspective. Look, 4 homes, 50%, and that, or come on, you and I both know that doesn't mean anything. Okay. So in fact, let's get into our bank-owned homes. Let's talk a little bit about what the heck's going on. So here we go. And we talk about some crazy, crazy numbers. Let's go to the middle chart. That was December, right? Look at that. It says pending sales are up 117%. Oh my gosh. Well, of course, we took a bit of inventory that was already existing. It's only 27 homes. That was pretty much peanuts. We have 10 more homes today, right-hand chart. We have 10 more homes today on market than we did last year. We have 13. Look at that. It says 86.7% increase in foreclosure listings. That's 13 homes. That's pretty much nothing. Look at that. Sales are up 11%. It's 1 home. 14. We have 14. It's 73%. We have a 73% increase in pending sales. Yeah, it's 14 homes. All right. Just to be clear, right? Listen, foreclosures, we don't have that many of them. In fact, we have so few foreclosures that the reason that they get sold at market value, they do paint, carpet, vinyl, they get those homes sold because we're one of the 5 sweet spots across the United States. That's all there is to it. Do not get called in and, captured in some of the metrics, some of the statistics, because you take a small number, right? If you have 2 homes for sale, you add 1 more to it, that's a 50% increase. Okay, but that's not real. That statistic is misleading. And that is what a lot of folks will say when they see these numbers. But because you're super smart and watching the show, there you go. Now, if you have any questions, put them down below. We'd love to hear what people are saying. We love absolutely to see, people's success stories. Please tell us how you're doing, what you've done, and if you got some bragging rights, put those down below. It's an absolutely stunning day out there. It's definitely get out. In the meantime, have a beautiful day. Hit that subscribe button for us. Do us a real solid. And I will see you on the next video. Take care.